Hey, how you doing? Coming to you from Las Vegas. It's a drink with Derek Richards, me, your host. Good to see you. Thanks for hanging out here in as we record this still during the pandemic. With me right now, though, is the greatest thing to come out of Chicago since Mitchell Trubisky. I had to throw that in there.
Ouch! That was comedian, like a low shot.
Comedian, actor. He's done TV shows. He's done movies. He's done commercials. Lenny Schmidt, you've seen him in the TV shows True Blood, Castle, ER, Desperate Housewives, the movies Joe Dirt, The Ugly Truth. Like I said, TV commercials. You've got a new album coming out called Secret Daddy, which was recorded in your hometown of Chicago at Zany's in Rosemont. That is coming out here. When is it? The new album's coming out when?
It was just released worldwide last week, so you can get it on all platforms, download platforms. So it's
nice.
Out there.
Secret Daddy, Lenny Schmidt, LennySchmidt.com, and also check out his show, Lenny Schmidt's Quarantine Comedy, which I was honored to do recently. Fun show, good time.
Honored to have you. Yeah,
you do it live, which is it takes a set of balls to do something live.
It was.
I record it because I know I have too many elements in my own personal existence that could just go tits up. So I go ahead and record it anyway. I could care less. Good to see you, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm very good. I'm excellent. Actually. I'm up. I got a cup of coffee. It's a nice, it's a cloudy day in the California area. We're getting ready for our second shutdown here. So we're all good.
This is so much fun. Now you're right in Los Angeles, or where are you at? Burbank?
I'm right in the valley, man. I'm Sherman Oaks. So it's just over the hill. So
nice.
It's nice. I like it. We're actually looking. We're thinking of moving. So we're looking around, which is a great time to move too, by the way, right now. So, but we're looking around. It says Sherman Oaks is nice. It's quiet. The whole neighborhood here is quiet. Yeah. So it's cool.
Quiet is good, especially during this time when everything's chaotic and stupid. So it's good to have a little bit of peace and quiet in your life, and especially you with two daughters. And we'll get into that here in a little bit. But you and I have had cocktails on many occasions. What is your best drunk story? A good Chicago drinker. I've got to hear this. Bring it.
Okay. All right. This is probably the best one, I would think. When I was in high school, we used to do. I was a lot heavier. I was an offensive lineman, and we used to go to parties. And this is back right around Animal House. Yeah. And John Belushi did the Jack Daniels thing with the drink the whole bottle. Well, we would go out and we would drink an entire bottle of Southern Comfort. So we would go to a party and we would stand in the driveway, me and just like three other huge 300-pound dudes, and just swallow down the whole bottle of Southern and then throw it aside and walk in. And the whole thing was we'd walk into a party and everybody like, oh shit, the linemen are here. And we'd walk in and we were in 20 minutes, we were hammered. I mean, we would just pound a whole bottle of this Southern Comfort. So one night I drank a whole bottle of Southern Comfort, an entire bottle of Southern Comfort. I remember walking into the party and that's all I remember. And the next morning I get up. And I don't feel good. I don't feel good at all. I go into the
really.
bathroom.
I'm surprised to hear that.
Yeah, I mean physically, I feel like I've been in a fight. I mean, it's not good. So
because
I go
you probably were.
Well, this was all told to me after the fact. So this is a story I'm hearing second and third hand because I don't remember any of it. But I go into the bathroom and I'm not in a good place. I'm all scabbed up on my face. I mean, it's just my shirt's tore. There's blood. I'm like, man, I have no idea what the hell happened. So I called my buddy Tad and I go, what happened? So he tells me this is what happened. I got really drunk and I was completely out of it. And he was leaving the party with his girlfriend. And he goes, I can't leave Lenny here laying on the floor. I got to take him home. So Pam goes, fine, get him. So they throw me in the back of the car. And Pam and Tad are supposed to have an evening alone. The parents are out. We're in high school. So the parents are out for the night. They're going to Pam's house. Well, I had just gotten kicked out of my house. So I couldn't tell Tad where I lived, and Tad didn't know where I lived. So they spent almost 2 hours driving around the city, going to different places, trying to figure out where the hell I was at. I couldn't explain it. I was drunk. Pam was getting pissed off. And at one point, Pam goes, if you can't get it together, you just need to get out of here. And I go, okay. And I just opened the door and jumped out of the car as we were doing 35 miles an hour down a road in Boughton Ridge. And I don't remember. I do remember one thing after I remember the story. I actually remember the road as my face like came to it, like, and that's it. So I'm all scabbed up and everything. And then they finally figured out where I was and they got me home. So that day, so Tad's like, you got to call Pam and apologize. So I called Pam. I go, I'm really sorry, Pam. I'm sorry. But I don't remember none of it. But I was like dead weight, 280 dead weight in the backseat of a car. And that was the last time I drank a whole bottle of Southern Comfort. I can't even smell Southern Comfort, like to this day. That's like the one liquor. Everybody has a liquor you can't. Well, Southern Comfort is it for me. I can handle tequila, and I've been pretty messed up with tequila, but Southern Comfort is one I can't even smell.
That's a good one. I like that. What would be your best bar fight soundtrack? Like for me, it would be the Dropkick Murphys. Like shipping up to Boston. Because I hear that song and all I can think of is The Departed. And coming from an Irish background, I'm like, all right, let's just throw this bottle of Jameson down and start kicking some ass. So what would be your best bar fight soundtrack? You're in a bar, lit up, this song comes on, and you could easily take somebody out.
Dude, I don't know. I don't know why this sticks in my head. You're going to laugh at me for this. Working for a Living by Huey Lewis and the News.
That would make you bring...
Yeah. For some reason, that song kicks in. I just hear hey, some guy, hey, that's my girlfriend. It's just such an upbeat song. I don't know. That's the song.
Huey Lewis. That's beautiful.
Huey Lewis has always pissed me off.
I was walking into a bar one time, comedian friend of mine. I don't know if you know who he is. He's out of Detroit, Brian McCree.
Yes, I love Brian, dude.
Funny, years. Great. Very one of the nicest people in the world. And so I was working a gig that he was booking in Michigan. Long story short, there was a bar down the street that I had passed multiple times going to his gig. And I go, well, we should stop in there. And he goes, that's a sketchy bar. He goes, rumor has it there's, a bunch of, white supremacists that go and hang out there. And I said, well, look, we can walk in. I go, if the place is weird, you get a weird vibe, we'll leave. No big deal. He goes, all right. So he agrees to walk in there with me, and he walk in the door, and Hall & Oates' Private Eyes is playing on the jukebox. And I look at him and I go, we're safe. I go, no hate crime is ever committed to Hall & Oates. Which sounds like something you would see like in a Coen Brothers movie, doesn't it?
Yeah, right.
Like you could just see people just doing some evil shit. And Hall & Oates is playing in the background.
That's just Private Eyes.
They're watching you, and then the guy's just getting the shit beat out of him by
an ice pick.
By an ice pick. Exactly.
Stabbing in the kidney.
No, have you been doing any binge watching of any shows during the pandemic?
Yeah, I know what I'm watching now. I'm watching the show called The Expanse, which is on Amazon Prime. It's kind of a space. Almost like a Star Trek type of show. Right. You know what I mean? So I like that stuff. I've seen a bunch of everything. I watched all of Ozark, and I watched all of my daughter and I got on this. She's on a reality show thing. She likes to watch reality shows. Specifically, we watched Hell's Kitchen. We watched all of them.
Right.
And then she was really into. My buddy turned me on to Temptation Island.
Okay.
Which is the most horrible show I think I've ever seen in my entire human being. It's typical. Put a bunch of attractive people in a house and just make them screw each other over, and then let's tape it all. That's and my daughter just is like, I can't believe. But then I gotta admit, with my daughter, I get sucked into like, Bridget, what do you do? Don't drink. Oh, son of a! You know what happens when you drink rum, Bridget? You know what I mean? I'm screaming at the TV. I get sucked into it. So. I tried to get off the reality thing because honestly, the main reason was I got so addicted to it. Every night I go, let's watch an episode, and then suddenly we're 4 in, and it's 3 a.m, and I'm like, I gotta go to bed. This is ridiculous. I spend every night watching reality shows with my teenage daughter. You know what I mean? So I finally got us out of that.
That's quality daddy-daughter time. So take advantage.
It's sad quality 2020 daddy-daughter time, right? You think about that when you were, what I mean? When you were kids, quality parent time is going fishing. I mean, just things with your dad and playing catch. And now it's watching reality shows.
Watching Temptation Island with your 18-year-old daughter. Yeah. During the pandemic.
Sure. That's great. Perfect.
Well, now your comedy's always been very reality-based. You look at your website, again, lennyschmidt.com. And you mentioned in there, we talk about having your best drunk story. Your dad was an alcoholic.
Yeah, I got to.
You admit that, and you joke about it on stage. Did you ever have any family members that watched you do your act and then they got pissed off at that, saying, "Hey, that's our own shit. Keep it in the family."
No, first of all, my brothers are all really hip with that. They're cool. They're like, I have 4 brothers, and they lived it, so they get it. They're cool. I'm also the oldest. So I remember my dad, and I also remember the good things about my dad. My younger brothers can't stand my dad. They only
Mhm.
remember the bad things. So when I do a bit about my dad, they could care less. My brother Mike is a comic, and he remembers some of the bits I did, so he's cool with me doing that stuff too. The weird thing, my family's weird, man. We go through years that we're we're half Irish. The Irish anger in our family is intense, and I spent 13 straight years not talking to my mom. 13 straight years, and in my life, I've spent.
That's a grudge.
Well, it is. That we hold grudges, brother. We don't mess around. We did.
Mhm.
In all, I think I've spent a little over 23 years not talking with my mom, not talking to me, and then another brother not talking to another. So we all have these weird things. And I bring it up because years ago when I was 18, my mom had a falling out with my dad's family. My dad passed away when I was 14. My mom had a falling out, and I didn't talk to my dad's family in forever. So they're the ones that would be affected by those bits. And I just recently started talking to my dad's side of the family, maybe 2 or 3 years ago when I was in Milwaukee, and some of them showed up to a show. But I haven't done those bits. I purposely haven't done those bits in front of them because that's my aunt, my dad's sister. You know what I mean? So I don't. I'm conscious of that. Some comics will just say, maybe I think too much about what the crowd, especially families, thinking. I'll be up there and I go, I don't want to do this joke because it'll upset Lori or whatever.
Well,
you know what I mean?
You also don't know. Again, you've got to go back and deal with family afterwards. Audience members, they're going to leave the show, maybe buy your CD or a T-shirt, and then walk out the door, and you'll never see them ever again.
Right.
Family, you're going to pop into them at weddings, birthdays, funerals, whatever, and it's like, oh, there's the dick nephew who made fun of my brother.
Yeah. Well, and one thing I was always really good about, even when I was still married, I ran whatever bits I did about my ex. I ran by her. You know what I mean? I would go, hey, I wrote this bit, and I would go, what do you think? And I didn't want to offend her on stage. And I do the same thing with my daughters. I'll write a bit and I go, hey, I wrote this bit about you, and I'll let them know. And if they don't like it, I don't do it or I change it. And I learned that years ago. I do a lot of stuff on my mom. This is a good example. We spent years not talking to each other. And the thing is, we go years like hating each other and not talking, and then years being really, really close, and then going back and forth. Now we've been things as I've gotten older, I've mellowed. So we seem to be getting, and she's older, so it's different now. But there was a point years ago where I did a joke and she came to me, she's like, that joke really bothers me. And I go,
your mom?
And I go, I thought about it and I go, oh, okay. I could see that. And I rewrote it. I'm also a big believer in, dude, we're funny. We have tons of material. And a lot of times if you got to rewrite a bit, it's better. And the joke is better after I changed it. My mom said she was upset about it. So I have no problem. So I try not consciously to do something in front of a family member, but then on the other end of it, it's my life, man. You know what I mean? I won't personally offend you, and that's a different aspect. Like if my aunt said that joke bothers me, I would have to say, well, that joke's not about you in any way, shape, or form. If I did the joke about you, I'd understand, but it's about my dad, who happens to be your brother, and you're just gonna have to live with it. So,
well, and sometimes you can just change a sentence in a joke, and it'll change the whole meaning of it, or change the perspective that somebody views it, and all of a sudden, they're cool with how you said it on stage. So,
yeah. I mean, there's a difference between calling somebody my quirky uncle and my asshole uncle. You know what I mean? Those two things right away. Like, oh, okay.
One word, done.
Yeah. Right. The whole persona, the going into the joke changes. You know what I mean? Your whole idea where you're going, where the journey's going. What did the asshole do? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, quirky's different because everyone's got a quirky relative. When you hear asshole, that's an instant trigger for, something really bad happened.
But everybody has an asshole uncle, and when you say asshole uncle, everybody remembers exactly who you're. Fred.
Oh yeah, and they know exactly what Fred did.
Yeah, they go back to that Thanksgiving.
The guy that put on Huey Lewis working for a living that caused Lenny to get into a bar fight.
Have a beautiful holiday, dinner. And he puts on Huey Lewis.
He drank a half gallon of Southern Comfort, and then everything went tits up.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Exactly what happened. Now you mentioned on your website too that you joke about going through therapy. Was that tied in with your dad, or was that with something else?
That was through the divorce. After the divorce.
Okay.
I think I went to someone with my dad. I went to Alateen when I was a kid. We did a bunch of that. And my dad went to a bunch of therapy. It was really ugly. My dad was a bad alcoholic. That's what killed him. That's how he died. Was his liver just gave. Acute alcoholism is what they called it. So I went through that when I was a kid, but I didn't really go through some major therapy changes till I went after I got divorced, and I got on this whole different path. I read The Power of Now. There's a book called The Sedona Method, which probably saved my life, and it really had a lot. Yeah, and it has a lot to do with unexpected emotional trauma. Things like someone passing away out of the blue, or like on a smaller scale divorce. I didn't see my divorce coming. It caught me completely off guard. So I was a mess. I was really emotionally a mess. So I went, and once I got on this different path, I started to embrace. I started to become more. I'm not enlightened, but I'm on a better path to being enlightened, and I'm much more of a Buddhist mentality where there's so many things in the world I can't control, and there's things I can control. I need to focus and work on the things I can control. But most importantly, what nobody does this anymore, is not worry about the things you can't change or control. There's so much shit going on in the world on a daily basis that you can't change. So once I got on that path, it completely changed my life. I'm a way less cranky and uptight person than I was. Even my kids notice it. When they were young, I was a lot angrier, and now I'm a lot more passive and more, okay, cool, whatever, it's good. But the thing
that's a great attitude to have now, especially with everything going on.
Yeah, here's the thing that blows
which again is stuff you cannot control.
Right. And even before Corona, we talked about this just a little bit on on my show the other day. Political correctness and this whole cancel culture and all this that's coming forward. All of that is the opposite of therapy. All of that is the opposite of don't worry about things you can't control. Cancel culture is the exact opposite of that. It's you're doing this, you have to stop. And you're like, no, actually, that's not the way the world works. The world doesn't change for you. You change and you adapt. And if you're not happy, you get out. You leave. You know what I mean? It's as simple as it is. That's what you have control over. And that's the only way to handle. Otherwise, the tension and the anger that you're keeping in you, whether it's the people on TV that are pissing you off, or your brother or your wife or your friend, and they're doing things that you need to stop that. You need to stop that. They need to stop that. They need to not call me that. They need to not use those words. You can't control those things, man. You got to let it go. You got to
if you got a neighbor that's an idiot, you just don't talk to that neighbor. I mean, unless they've got a dog that barks constantly, or they're throwing loud parties at 3 a.m. every single day, then you go, all right, we got to make an adjustment here. But if they have some political belief that doesn't align with yours, it's like, all right, well, I'm going to choose to not hang out with that person, or I can compartmentalize that element that I'm not going to go, you know what? They are a huge supporter of X. I am not. Therefore, I'm not going to bring that up in a conversation. I can still appreciate someone for being a good person.
Right.
And just not agree with them. No one can agree to disagree anymore. Everybody wants to disagree and be a douche about it.
Yeah, we can't have a decent conversation. And I miss the days when you could have a disagreement with someone and go, you're an asshole, and then sit down and have a steak and everything was fine. No one, you know what I mean? You had different opinions. You're like, I got plenty of friends that are, I'm not right or left or anything, but if you're hard right and hard left, it's very hard for those two to sit down and commute anymore and talk. There's
no rational conversation anymore.
Right. Which if you think in the big scale of things, really what that does, it stunts our growth as a society, because the only way to understand the other side is to listen to the other side. So both sides need to communicate somehow for someone to go, oh shit, that's a good point. You're not going to learn that if you're calling them an asshole every time they disagree.
Well, I think a lot of it is also you become you marinate in this culture of MSNBC and Fox News, where here's your left, here's your right. And if you're watching that and it's that constant, everyone's yelling and looking to start shit, then nothing ever seems to be, there's never any productive dialogue that comes out of any of those yelling matches back and forth.
Right. And even though they have yelling matches on each of those respective networks, their narrative is pretty much entrenched. You know what I mean? Yeah. MSNBC is left, Fox is right. Even though they're arguing, they're going to argue the left and right things. They're not arguing the two things together, which is kind of what our country is supposed to be about. You know what I mean? The whole reason I bought this hat really was like my daughter's 19. She's very anti-US right now. She's very angry. She's angry about a lot of things. I understand that looking at a 19-year-old. But I try to explain to her to listen to the other side. Like I'll watch Fox News and she's like, why are you watching this? I go, because I want to see this interview. It's an important interview.
Sure.
You should sit down and watch some of it. And she's starting to, I'll give her credit that she listens, and she may disagree and walk away, but she listens, and she's not quick to shut it down. She won't be, I can't watch Fox News. This is bullshit. Sure,
Right.
watch it and disagree, which is fine. I'm fine with a healthy debate. You know, I'm
Sure.
fine with a healthy no, wrong, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to agree, man. Everybody's got to be cool with that. You know, we got to be cool that we're not going to agree on everything.
Right.
You know, people
Well,
lose
now
their
you're from Chicago,
yeah,
which has always been a huge politically charged city
corrupt
through the years. I mean, when they say the Windy City, that had nothing to do with the wind in Chicago. That was all based on the fact that it was politicians that just kept talking. That's what
you would know that coming from Detroit, and most people don't know that. Yeah, most people
they
don't
always
know
think
that.
it's cold weather. It's like no, wind was was the people talking, the politicians, and all that.
Yeah.
So what's going on in Chicago right now with the chaos and the pandemonium, and you look at your Chicago mayor, Lori Lightfoot, who has been featured heavily on the news. When you see what she has done with the city, whether you agree or disagree, I mean, what's your thought process on that?
I'm a little far removed from what's going on in Chicago, but I pay attention. You know, I'm not there as much anymore now because the kids are here. I got to meet, man. It was tough for her to jump into that. First of all, she jumped in right during the whole Jesse Smollett thing, that whole train wreck. And then now Chicago my brother lived in some of those South Side areas in the 18th and Lakeshore. And I mean, parts of that city are really messed up. I mean, they're really bad.
Yeah.
And she had a heavy plate of crap. And I was reading just recently about the stuff they're sending military now, 150 soldiers
federal
are
agents,
going
I believe.
Federal agents are going there, right? And she's got to do something. There's a lot of times I look at her, I kind of like what she's doing. I kind of like what she's trying. She's got to try and clean the city up somehow, you know, and the city is just a violent city. There's not, and there's areas of it that are violent. You know, it's so, where my kids live in Bartlett, it's just, you know, it's that white bread suburbs, you know, conservative neighborhood. And then to go from that to that where my brother lived at 18th and Lakeshore, it's not a pleasant area. You know, it's like a war zone over there.
Right.
I mean, you drive through, it's just not good. So I don't know. Chicago is such a big city. I don't know what kind of answers there are for her to handle, but it seems like she's heading in the right direction and she's at least trying. You know what I mean? She came out and said something against the military or the federal agents coming to Chicago. And then Trump called her and then she said, okay, well, first of all, she has no choice. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if Trump calls you and says the federal agent is coming, you got to go, okay. You know, you can't just say, I don't want him here. I mean,
it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, there needs to be some assistance, whether you agree with federal agents coming in or not. I don't care if you send in, 20 ice cream trucks. If someone's going to do something to calm shit down.
Yeah.
I mean, you had 14 people that got injured outside of a funeral for some gang guy.
Right. Well, I think
they literally had police protection there and some black SUV pulled up and opened fire. It's like, okay. So I mean, something needs to happen. I don't care who comes in to help correct it,
and they're almost smart. They're almost smart sending agents there now, because even though you're like, oh my God, if something needs to happen now, I almost think the agents there are kind of getting ahead of it. Look at what's going on in Portland right now. If Chicago was at the state that Portland is, Chicago is way bigger than Portland. That would be it's like a country losing control. You know?
No, it is.
So send the agents there to get the shit in order before things get nuts.
Before it goes completely.
Yeah, and Chicago, it's a smart move in Chicago because it's really, Illinois is more of a Republican state, but it's a liberal city, and that's for the election. This is a weird time, man. There's so much turmoil going on. So sending agents there now before things get completely shit-cased is probably a smart move, you know?
Well, and I love Chicago. Chicago's a great city. I've always had a great time whenever I've been there. You're a huge Chicago sports fan. Are you going to go ahead and watch sports now with no fans?
Yes, I've been watching the White Sox inter-squad games for the last week and a half. Are you kidding me? Yeah, on the TV.
You mean the cornhole tournaments on ESPN aren't doing it for you anymore?
No, I can't. You know what? I lost the cornhole pool last week, so I got really pissed off. So I lost $150 in that cornhole pool.
Did you now?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know how
that's a gambling problem. When you're losing significant coin on cornhole. You need to go back.
There's nothing to gamble on.
You got to go back to that book that you were reading, that therapy book. There's got to be a chapter in there about when you start betting on cornhole.
Yeah,
you need to find a mentor.
Yeah, because you can't control cornhole, my friend. You have no control over cornhole. The beanbag has a mind of its own.
I've never heard those words said in that order ever. No one's ever having a big conversation about mob intervention in cornhole tournaments.
Yeah, you can't.
Cornhole, it's rigged, like horse racing and boxing.
Dude, let me tell you something, man. I saw him switch those bags. You know that.
Do you think they should end up letting fans in the stadiums?
I don't know, because I don't know what the hell's going on with this virus, man. I get to a point now with the virus where I'm listening to the professionals. I'm reading the news. Fuck the news. You know what I mean? I'm listening to the professionals. But I don't know what to think anymore, man. I'll be honest with you. I don't know what to think. I know some people that have been affected by the virus, and I don't know. Everyone's like, it spreads really bad. I think the numbers are skewed. I think there's a problem with the counting. I think there's a problem with the death counting. There's a problem with California, 12,000 cases yesterday or whatever. So I don't want to say, let fans in if it is really contagious and dangerous. Part of me honestly thinks there's a point this disease is it's affecting people that are really, really sick in other ways. And it's almost like, shouldn't we flip the switch? Shouldn't the people that are at danger stay home, and then everybody else goes out and does?
That is the line of thinking that I've had all along. If you don't feel well, stay home.
Yeah, or if you're afraid or worried.
Well, even a couple comedy clubs that I've done since this has started, I mean, they were very proactive in checking temperatures, people walking in the building, which I'm like, you're doing the best you possibly can. I mean, I feel safer now walking into a venue when they're checking temperatures as opposed to a year ago when you could have how many times, where you hear friends that are at work and they get pissed off because some asshole shows up who had the flu.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Up that spreadsheet for Bob. It's like, fuck Bob, stay home. Don't get us all sick.
Yeah. Right.
It goes back
to good, stay home.
Yeah, old school common sense. If you feel like crap, stay home, get better and let everybody else live their lives. So,
right. Well, we also
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, we also get to the point. I think that also the big business and corporations got us to a point where they forced a lot of people that they had to go to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of people thought, I can't stay home. I can't afford to stay home. If you're a two-income family with kids and you're working your ass off, if you stay home, it's going to cost you hours. We've built this mentality. That's another thing is I look at this disease, and maybe this disease showed up to tell people, to everybody, take a step back. Don't go to work sick. Don't cram 400 people onto a plane. There's no reason, that you need 300 people in a shuttle to be rubbing up against people. Maybe we need to take a step back and take care of ourselves physically, to make sure we're healthy. Because I've got to the point where nobody really cares about health. People eat bad. The whole thing is about just to keep going, keep moving, keep going, keep moving. And we look how much crap is out there. There's diet supplements. There's people take energy to keep moving. Nobody's talking about getting more sleep and eating right.
No, you're right. That's the conversation that's not happening enough.
Right. Exactly.
Because the virus is going to be as strong as the host is weak.
Right. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. You're 100% correct. Yes. That's kind of the point. If you're healthy and you're eating right, you're getting rest and you're taking your vitamins, you're doing whatever it is you got to do to stay healthy, then you have a natural immune system that's going to fight off. And I listened to, tons of article the other day, or a talk radio article. These diseases, one of the ways to beat them is to expose ourselves to them more, so that we build an immunity to it as a society, that the disease falls off by the wayside.
Right.
I mean, there was a time when a headache wiped out a caveman, or if you had the flu, you knew you were going to die in a cave somewhere, but as time has gone by, and say what you want about modern medicine, fine, whatever, but your natural body builds an immunity to whatever it is exposed to over and over and over. Shit, alcoholism is a great example of that. You know what I mean? You get to a point where, some people have 1 or 2 drinks, wipes them out. If you drink every night, you drink a lot, you could drink 10, 15 drinks and you're fine. Your body adjusts and adapts to whatever is coming into it. Right. So,
well, like when you were a kid too, think about those times your parents let you stay outside and do whatever you wanted. And as long as you came in and washed your hands before you sat down to dinner, you were good to go. I mean, you would do anything. You'd sit there, you'd go outside and play in the dirt. You'd get cut. You're like, let me wash out this cut with mud. Or you drink from the hose, or lick the cat's ass. I mean, that was you did that,
right? Yeah, go lick the cat's ass. We did a cat's ass tournament every Thursday. That's what we did, lick a cat's ass.
I would
that was right after cornhole.
See, we didn't do that in suburban Detroit. We never had a lick the cat's ass tournament. That's why I think it took so long for the Tigers to win a World Series, because we never did a lick the cat's ass tournament.
Yeah, there you go. I think so. I agree.
Now, you've got to miss you do a lot of acting. You've done TV shows, commercials, stuff like that. What was your best experience in doing all these different acting projects?
I did probably the best one was there was a show called The In-Betweeners that was on MTV, and it was a US version of an English show. It was kind of like The Office, where they bought the rights to it and they brought it over.
Right.
And I was the dad. I played Jay's dad on that show. I can't remember my name off the top of the head, but I was in a bunch of episodes. And it was a great show. The people involved were great. Todd Schulson was the director that just directed that show with the romantic comedy with Reba. What's her name? I can't remember. Whatever. I'm drawing a blank. He also did all the Harold and Kumar movies. So he did those. And Brad Copeland was the showrunner, and he wrote the Yogi Bear movie, and he's been a writer. A lot of guys, writers from My Name is Earl, and it was great. And we had so much fun shooting that show. It was a blast. We just had a great time hanging out. It was in Florida. We were on location for 2 or 3 days. It was a lot of fun. The stars were these 4 teenage kids, and that was easily the best time I had shooting. It was cool. Also, when you do a gig like that with SAG, they put you up in a nice hotel. I'm there for a whole week. You get a SAG per diem because it's a union gig. I mean, it was good. It was really cool. It was awesome. I like that. I was there for a whole week. We shot a bunch of episodes. So that was probably the best time I had.
Now, the flip side, what was your worst experience?
All right, there's 2. I always equate these two, but here's the first one. I did NCIS, and when I did the audition, and it was just 2 lines. I was a bank guard. Well, something happens. I'm walking with the guy, and I have 1 or 2 lines. So I get there early, and they set me up really good. I only have 2 lines, and they have a huge trailer. I'm like, oh, this is great. And I call time at 6 a.m, but I don't shoot till 4 p.m. So I'm just sitting around all day. My kids stop by for lunch. I spent all day hanging out with Mark Harmon. We talked football all day long. It was just a great day. Everything. Yeah. So here's where it gets bad. Right before they go to shoot, they go, "You have makeup in 10." I go, "Okay, cool." So I go into my trailer, and the sides are sitting there, which is the sides, the schedule, and all that. I go, "I'm gonna grab the sides really quick." Just go over the lines. I open it up. They changed my 2 lines to a full monologue. It's 3 pages of dialogue. It's all me. The whole scene is me. So I'm reading this and I'm going, holy shit. I get this. I don't know none of it. And they're like, 15 minutes. I'm like, okay. Yeah. So I'm literally in 15 minutes, dude, I'm cramming through 3 pages of dialogue, trying to get this all, trying to remember it. So I get out there, I do the shoot, and at the end of it, it came out okay. But I was never more miserable shooting anything because I was constantly freaked out about the lines in my head. Because then when you do it, and then the way the scene is shot up is I'm a guard on a cash truck that goes to a bank that picks up a coin and picks up a bunch of money. So the scene is I'm in the vault talking, loading up a bag, walk through the back of the bank, walk through the lobby, walk through the front, and the whole thing is me talking to the other guard. Just talking about divorce and women and chicks and and stuff. And I'm telling him how to be a good husband or a good boyfriend. And then the kicker on the line at the end is he goes, "How are your 4 ex-wives doing?" I go, "They're doing good." And I get in the truck and I leave. And then when I leave, everyone in the bank gets killed. So that's the opening of the show. That's how the show opens up. I just missed getting killed. But we only shot it, went by fine, but they have a scripts consultant there. So every time you fuck up a line, she yells out from the back so I can hear her. So we'll do 1 take, I come out, and she's like, "The line is into the door, not through the door. And also it's grab the bag, not push the bag." And she's yelling my screw ups as I walk back to A. So they go back to 1. Okay. So I go back to 1. And the whole time I'm thinking of her screw ups and I'm thinking of the line. And literally it's just because within an hour, I learned all these lines and I'm trying to spew them out. I was miserable the whole shoot. Now I've always been really good with copy. Like I can get off book pretty quick. Like I've always been really good about that. But I was so freaked out about this that I couldn't stop freaking out during the shoot. I'm sweating. And afterwards you look at it and you're like, "Oh, that was pretty good. That was good. That was good."
That's impressive to digest that much dialogue.
Well, I pulled off, and that was good. The other one was True Blood, and that didn't go great. And that was a mental block on the set. And I was so nervous. The director wanted me. I know at the end of it, it's another thing you look at and you go, "Wow, it was actually really good." And then they were nice enough. They invited me to the wrap party. They have a huge wrap party at the end of the season. And I was only in 1 episode, and they invited me. I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Because I thought I didn't give the director what he was looking for at all. He's like, "I want you to be really big and loud." And I just couldn't get it. I remember one point him looking at me, and the look on his face is just like, "You are not doing what I want you to do."
How could you not be big and loud?
I know. I look back on that particular scene.
I mean, if they told you to be a Hispanic woman,
I know.
I could see you not pulling that off. But
I
how
should
could
have.
you not be
I
big
know.
and loud?
I should have hit that out of the park, bro. That was my moment to be the scene. Remember Lenny Schmidt in True Blood? And like, you still look at it now and it's a good scene, but I could have been just way better than it was. And I was really disappointed in myself after that. And after that, after that, I changed my approach to going into shooting stuff. So that helped. That helped a lot. So, but yeah, those are the two worst ones. Everything else has been okay, but those True Blood was miserable. And everybody on the set was great because I hung out with Steve and the guy that played Bill, and we had lunch, and he had just moved there from London, and I mean they were fantastic. HBO has always been good to me. I've been on a bunch of their shows, so yeah, they were great, man.
That's cool. What now? You have two daughters in California. Let's say this. I mean, that's got to be a challenge as it is raising two kids in this environment. Raising two kids, period, is difficult. Your ex is in Chicago still, correct?
Yeah. When we got, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, continue.
When we got divorced, she moved to Chicago and took the kids. And so the kids were little here. This was maybe 7 or 8 years ago. So Anna was only 11 and Lily was 9, around that age when they went back to Chicago. So, and that was right around that hard part, right? Just went to the whole, that Sedona method book really helped, changed everything. And it really helped me because that was a hard time for me. Because I went from I wasn't working the road then. I was doing, mainly acting in town, doing Big Love and all this HBO stuff. And Ann had a side job at a restaurant, and then my wife had a job, and I was involved in my daughter's school, so I was there every day. So I was really every morning. I took my kids to school. I went from that to working cruise ships, which in about 2 weeks, and it really messed me up. So, but now the kids, they're back here living with me now. It was hard being a dad for them when they were far away, but we figured it out as they grew up. Like you do, you adapt. So now they're here. It's interesting now because they're teenagers and they have their opinions and stuff, which I find that really interesting, where I can have conversations with my kids and they tell me what they think. You know what I mean? And it's very cool to see them.
Because I wouldn't give a shit.
No, I know. But see, that's the difference between me and you, I guess. I don't know. I care. I've always been really cool about giving them a platform to hear what they say. So we'll have debates and we'll disagree about stuff and then we move on. But we have a very open line of communication on everything. Because I didn't want to be that parent that does the whole, because I said so. My mom did that shit all the time, drove me crazy.
Oh, yeah. My dad would be like, oh, let me hear your opinion. And you would give it. And my dad would be essentially, well, that's delightful. Go fuck yourself. And now this is what you do. So,
yeah, right.
So last question. I'm going to put you in a scenario, the worst scenario you could possibly be as a father. You have two daughters.
Yeah.
Go into a strip club with some buddies. You see your daughter on stage. How do you handle that? Go.
Now, is she hosting or sweeping? Or is she...
No, she's not waiting tables.
I know what she's doing. I'm just stalling for time.
Okay.
You know what? Honestly, if it happened to me, I would turn around and walk out.
Yeah.
I would think turn around and walk out. The confrontation is not going to help anybody. It's not going to help her. Not going to help me.
Discuss it with her afterwards, or are you going to say, hey, this is your life. Do what you want to do.
I'll discuss it with her afterwards. Yeah, I'll discuss it with her afterwards for sure. But I can't confront her. Why put her in that position to confront her?
Right.
That's gonna, first of all, if there's at this point, there's obviously damage done, and the confrontation is only going to add to that damage. There's, that's not. She's not going to look at that moment and go, "Oh shit, you're right, Dad. This is such a mistake." That's not going to happen. So,
or she can look at you and go, "Why were you walking into the fishy bunny?"
You're absolutely right. That's true.
I don't know why I came up with the name the Fishy Bunny for a strip club, but I would go there.
Do they have a punch card? Because I would go to the Fishy Bunny at a regular.
Of course they do.
Do you get a free Fishy Bunny after like the eighth visit?
After the fifth one.
Oh, the fifth one. Wow, that's a deal.
Funny.
That's a deal.
Lenny Schmidt, you're awesome, dude. LennySchmidt.com. Lenny Schmidt's Quarantine Comedy. Check that out. Watch him on TV. See him in commercials. Check him out on Cruise
the new album, Secret Daddy.
Secret Daddy album is coming out. You can go to LennySchmidt.com and figure out how to snag that. By all means, get it, play it, live it, make it a part of your life. Great to see you again, my friend. We will hook up soon.
Yeah, buddy. Take care.